It is an absolute joy and honor to have Dr. Willian Lane Craig here with us. Dr. Craig, your voice has certainly gone out on YouTube. There's hardly anyone that goes on the internet that's looking for reasons to believe and reasons to justify their faith, and they won't come across a video of yours. Talk about just for a moment your passion and how that passion has grown to share these evidences for God's existence with the new generation.
Well, Rice, I myself wasn't raised in a Christian home or even a church-going family. And so when I became a Christian at the age of 16, it just turned my life completely upside down. And immediately I was involved in sharing with my family members and my non-Christian friends why I had made this radical step of committing my life to Christ, and everything changed. And so I was immediately involved in giving reasons for this step, giving reasons for faith. And that desire grew and focused as I went on for my advanced studies at university and then beyond. And I carry a deep burden in my heart to share this good news, as well as the evidence for it, with students who were about the same age that I was when my life was turned upside down by a personal encounter with God. So that's the spring of this desire that I have.
Well, you can see and feel the passion in your heart when you speak. And you even in watching these encounters with audiences of many times more against you than for you, they are absolutely struck by the fact that you've done your homework. That's something that you're not just getting up and saying, hey, let me just share something that happened to me when I was 16. You've had to study to be prepared for this battle.
Yes, that's absolutely right. I've pursued 2 earned doctorates in philosophy and theology, both in Europe as well as seminary education. I wanted to be equipped so that I couldn't just be dismissed as some emotional, Bible-pounding televangelist or something.
Yeah.
I wanted to show students that as a Christian, you don't have to put your brains in one pocket and your faith in the other pocket and never let them see the light at the same time. But as a Christian, you can have a Christian worldview. That is to say, a Christian perspective on the arts, on science, on history, on literature, and so forth. The Christianity makes sense. It meets the needs of the head as well as the needs of the heart.
Dr. Craig, we're coming in a political season. Everything comes down to a soundbite. Politicians try to form that little soundbite that kind of marginalizes their opponent. I want you to talk about this soundbite that God is dead and the origins of that. When we're talking about God's not dead, which is obviously a response to this Nietzschean phrase that comes out, and now it begins to morph and evolve, and it still floats around. When you hear the phrase God is dead, where do you talk about the origins of that and the impact of that and how you're seeing that reversed?
Well, it comes from a 19th century German philosopher named Friedrich Nietzsche, who proclaimed the death of God. And what Nietzsche understood was that the death of God changed everything. If there is no God, that is to say, if God does not exist, then Nietzsche said we're left with just nihilism. That is to say, there is no meaning, no value, no purpose in life. Everything becomes absurd. And Nietzsche presented this slogan in the mouth of a lunatic, a madman, because that was the way the people of his culture looked at him. They couldn't understand the implications of atheism. But Nietzsche predicted someday people would really grasp the implications of modern unbelief, and this would usher in this age of nihilism, the destruction of all meaning and value and purpose in life.
What, from your study, what was the impact when he first said this? What was the original impact of those statements? When he began to put this, when he wrote that, what was the name of the character? Is it Zoroaster?
It was Also sprach Zarathustra was the name of the dialogue.
See, I
but
knew
as
that.
I say,
I absolutely knew that.
It was the madman. This is so interesting. It was the madman who proclaimed the death of God, and the people around him thought he was crazy. And they didn't understand why he was so upset in proclaiming the death of God, because they didn't really understand the implications of atheism. And I think what Nietzsche was saying was that modernity has let go of God. It's abandoned God without understanding that when you do so, everything changes. Life doesn't just go on as before. And I suspect, Rice, that culture still hasn't come to learn this Nietzschean lesson. I think Nietzsche is one of the few who have stared atheism in the face without blinking. But the modern new atheists, for example, tend to be humanists. They tend to still affirm values of human worth and intrinsic human rights, that there's a purpose in life. They tend to affirm many of traditional Christian values and so forth. They really haven't understood the implications of atheism if there is no God.